This episode of the Off-Road Podcast is sponsored by Colby Valve.
Off-Road Podcast 448, Oregon Adventure Trucks.
Tonight, Aaron gets grounded, Coy goes mudding, and Ben died.
Welcome to the Off-Road Podcast, a podcast about everything off-road. We cover the news, review products, and interview people in the off-road industry. Your hosts tonight are Aaron, Coy, and Ben will be here eventually. And we are joining us again tonight is Brent from Oregon Adventure Trucks, who we had on back in 2018 on episode 192 when he worked for Earth Cruiser. Welcome to the show.
Great to be here.
Yeah, glad you made it.
Good to see you guys.
Yeah, it's been, let's see, 2018. That's like almost 6 years.
Yeah, that was before video, so I didn't even get to see you.
That's true. Yeah, I had when you came on the podcast, I'm like, I don't know who this guy is. Yeah, we're excited to have you on. Coy, well, you went. I didn't think that you like to go mudding, so I'm curious about your mudding.
Well, we got like 2.5 hours of sunshine, and so I'm like, I am mowing this lawn. I live in a swamp, and I have a zero turn. So if it doesn't want to turn, it just burns out. And I mowed it once and just track and run it up my whole yard. And I was like, that's not enough. I had to mow it on high. So I dropped her down to 2. I went at it again. I was finding kids' toys I hadn't seen in 9 months, dog toys. There's brown ruts all over my yard, but it is mowed. I'm telling you. So, yeah, I got a little off-roading on the mower.
I had Thomas mow our grass, and yeah, I need a locking differential for our mower because we got a lot of side hill, and you start leaning, that upper tire lifts and it just spins, and like you're saying, it just leaves brown streaks everywhere as you're trying to move around. So yeah, that's it, huh? Just lawnmower mudding.
That's literally all I did that was anything related to off-road this week. Was just some mud in my yard. I haven't done anything cool. Been super lame.
You gonna put a winch on your mower now?
Not yet. Not yet. Not quite there. I have enough things with winches around my house that I can winch the mower out. I literally have before because I have a zero turn, like I said, and I have a lot of like driveways cut into hills, and I want to get one tire as close as I can to cut over the ditch so much, but it just takes one bump and there's no getting it out, and so then I have to drag it back out somehow.
Yeah, I know. Well, I didn't do much more than you besides mow the grass. I worked on my Nissan a little more. Still chasing down this phantom nonsense with it. I use that scan tool some more. I got the steering angle dialed in. I definitely know I need an alignment, but I got the steering angle dialed in, and it isn't doing that fuel cut thing anymore. And I drove it almost to town and back, and on the way back, all the lights came back on that I was getting, but without the fuel cut issue. So I'm not sure what's going on, and it gave me new codes I didn't have before. So I bought, I feel like it's 2005 or 2002. I bought one of those earth grounding kits. I'm going to just start grounding everything to the battery under the hood.
Is it one of those cyclone or typhoon grounding kits from 2008?
It sure feels like it.
It looked like monster wire.
Yeah, I was like, it was either blue or red. And I'm definitely not doing red for a ground. And then the other choice was purple. And it's like, can I like get black or so? I don't want like a bunch of blue highlighted stuff under my engine bay. But
and you can get up to 25 free horsepower though, just by grounding your vehicle. Yeah,
impressive.
Yeah, up to. It doesn't mean exactly 25, but could be up to that much. Likely
could
not.
Be up to, yeah.
Could be up to.
Yeah. So, anyways, I got that in the mail today, and I didn't have any time before the podcast to go out to the truck. I had a friend over, and we're trying to get the 3D printer over here working. So, yeah, hopefully tomorrow. Leroy Engineering says I've got 6.5 months to get it sorted out. I know the problem is I'm already a month and a half into getting it sorted out, and don't feel like I'm any closer. So, Mark says he ran purple power and green ground cables, and he did. No, he says it glows under UV light. Yeah, that's exactly what I need is a UV light underneath the hood of my truck.
Pop the hood.
Yeah, we're going to be rock crawling in Moab with UV lights. That actually maybe be kind of fun if you had some UV underglow, because in Moab, I bet you there's some rocks and some plants that glow in the dark.
That way we can find all the blood and bloody fluid all over Hell's Revenge.
You will be the highlight of the show at King of Hammers if you do that.
I don't think so, man. Like they've upped it. There was a Ferris wheel there this year. Like, what am I supposed to do with UV underglow?
Yeah, Mark says that scorpions glow. I think so does uranium. So, could be good or bad. And there's a lot of uranium mines out in Utah. Brent, have you done anything off-road related in the past week or two?
No, I don't do any of that stuff. I don't like it. Yeah, no, actually over, what was it? Like I kind of took some time off over Christmas, just because we always shut the shop down between Christmas and New Year's. And, it's a slow time of year for us, at least. The snow starts falling. People start wanting to go to the mountain to ski. Not really. I don't know. We do have a decent amount of snow wheelers out here, but typically the shop is, not as packed as it normally is. And so the wife and I, we did 3 weeks. We headed south, hit Joshua Tree area, and then we went through Anza Borrego, the state park down there. I don't know if you guys have ever heard or been down to that section of California. Largest state park in California. It's got about 900 or so square miles. It's right up against Ocotillo Wells. The biggest difference between Anza Borrego and Ocotillo, though, is in Borrego, you have to travel in a highway legal vehicle. So you don't run into ATVs, dirt bikes, side-by-sides. Okay. It's trucks, Jeeps, dual sport motorcycles, things like that. So
what's the name of it again?
It's Anza Borrego. Anza Borrego Desert. So it's a beautiful area. I've never been. I've heard about it. Had some friends tell me and give me some maps on places, but I got down in there and I was blown away. There's slot canyons you can hike. We had it. It felt like we had it practically all to ourselves over Christmas. We didn't even move the truck. We spent 3 days in a just kind of up in a wash area. Nothing dangerous because they haven't been getting a lot of rain down there, but we didn't even move the truck, and it was 70 degrees and sunny, and that's how I spent my Christmas. Just the dogs and the wife, and kind of camping. And then from there, then we headed into civilization a little bit. I have family that live in Thousand Oaks, and then we worked our way up to Santa Cruz, and then kind of came back to Bend. But yeah, Anza Borrego was special. I can't wait to get back down there. If you haven't been, you should definitely try to go.
That sounds awesome. I wish Ben hadn't died. I would have loved to hear him spell Anza Borrego.
Borrego.
I was just Googling Anza Borrego because I was like, Borrego means sheep in Spanish. So now my interest is piqued. It was named after a Spanish explorer named Anza.
Yep.
And Borrego means sheep. So I'm not sure the exact correlation, but that is what it means.
The history in that region is pretty incredible. The sheep is for the bighorn sheep that are all over down there. So it's a really rugged terrain. But yeah, it's the area where the Spanish missions would kind of come in to, set up their practice or whatever you call it, like from, coming through Mexico. So there's a mailbox, like you'll be in the Badlands, they call it, and there's just absolutely nothing out there. And then you just roll up on, a whole oasis of palm trees, and a natural spring that's right there. And then one of them, I think it's called 17 Palms, actually has a mailbox that's been restored, but that's where these passerbys used to like kind of put their mail in order to kind of get things to other travelers and stuff. It's just some really cool history in that region. It's fun.
Sounds cool.
Leroy Engineering had a Kia Borrego that was LS swapped. And he says that sounds like it would be a good place to take it. I agree. I think you should take that everywhere. So awesome. Well, that sounds like an amazing trip. We've got a buddy right now down in Death Valley sending us pictures.
Wow.
Yeah, a little jealous.
They got washed out really bad from that hurricane. Is he saying that it's mostly open now? Or I know like Saline Valley and Steele's Pass closed.
All I know is he's sending us some pictures. So let me
apparently like mid 70s and beautiful.
Yeah.
Not shabby. It's awesome.
Oops, no, not that one.
The air's extra thick there, I guess.
Yeah, he sent 3 pictures.
Travis Hudson says Anza Borrego is popular with trail recon and other social YouTubers. It looks amazing. So I guess you can find some videos of that online if you choose.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some great areas. It's just so vast. I mean, I only hit a small section of it. But I really would love to go back down and explore kind of the more southern parts and, you know, kind of heading over to the western side towards San Diego area look pretty epic too. But yeah, it was fun.
The more I find out about all these cool places, the more I realize that I don't have, as just an average human, it's unlikely that I have the lifespan to ever check out all this cool stuff. Like there's so many cool state parks and Wheeling to do, and it's like I've been to Moab a couple times, and like it's like I haven't seen everything. Like I want to go back. Like I don't know how many times I'd have to go to really see everything, and then it's not even really that big, like compared to a lot of these other places. So
yeah,
it's kind of a bummer and makes me want to quit my job and become a nomad, but the podcast doesn't pay quite enough for that yet.
No, it doesn't.
So, but no, that's probably outside of that, I just had to get back and get to work, you know. So couldn't really been out and about, but I haven't really done much off-roading, you know, since probably since that trip. So
Badlands says to do a podcast on location. Absolutely.
That's a great idea. I'll join you guys for that one too.
Sounds good. Let's do it. Let's plan it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I
want
to thank our sponsor, Patriot Patch. Head over to patriotpatch.co and check out their selection of great patches, shirts, cleaning mats, signs, and stickers. You can also join the Patch of the Month Club for $15 and receive a patch, matching sticker, and artist proof each month. Sorry about that.
Oh, it's all good. No, I think I also want to head down to. I think I'm going to be heading down to Christmas Valley. So it's fairly close. You guys probably have heard of that place. They got some pretty cool sand dunes down there. Yeah, Lost Forest.
We've been there a few times. Yeah, the Lost Forest, airplane crashes, crack in the ground, hole in the ground.
Yeah, for an easy weekend trip to just go, you know, kind of explore something. It's kind of easy to get to from here. So
yeah,
probably head down there in a couple weeks. I'm hoping.
There's always between Christmas Valley and Silver Lake, there's like a cool Mesa Mountain you can drive up onto. It's like there's like kind of an OHV area there, and there's some radio towers at the top, but you can look out over Christmas Valley kind of and see all the crop circles.
Yeah, it's called Table Mountain.
Oh, is that I didn't know what it's called. I just happened to go up there one time and I was like looking right at the backs of eagles from the cliff, and I was like, this is pretty cool.
Yeah, right. I haven't been up there in a while, but I remember like right towards the top, like right when you make that final turn, it gets kind of steep, and then there's like about 1.5 foot to like a 2-foot ledge that you have to kind of go up. It was
like 2 years ago when I went there, and there was like a pretty sketch off camber spot of slick rock, but then there was one steep. I remember it was a little sketch in a few spots, but it was just me by myself when I went up there, so I wasn't too worried.
Yeah, it just is a little pucker at the very end from what I remember, but it is.
I remember that as well.
Yeah, you get up there though. That overlook is gorgeous.
That's really cool. Yeah.
That sounds like the place, not the same place, but it sounds similar to where we were just outside of Silver Lake. Coy and I went down to Silver Lake and did a snow camping, snow wheeling trip. And we were up of some mountains
across the valley from. You could probably have seen that from that one radio tower we're at, Indian or whatever it was.
Yeah, probably.
Did you go to Christmas dinner tree when you're down there?
Cowboy dinner tree, yeah.
Dinner tree, yeah. Yep. Okay. That's always a highlight for a lot of travelers coming through that place too.
It was
a lot of fun.
Better like steak or chicken. So
we all liked steak a lot, so we're good. It was painfully good for me because I took it as a challenge. And,
you don't leave hungry, that's for sure.
You better not. If you do, it's your own fault.
I barely left under my own power. If there had been a wheelchair, somebody could have taken me out there and struck.
Oh man. Yeah, and we were the last guests there, so they not only did they send us home with our leftovers, they fed us. They gave us a bunch of other leftovers to bring home.
Oh man, wow, you guys lucked out
then.
Yeah, yeah. I know that there's our local 4x4 group, just called 4x4 Bend, is doing they're doing a run here in the next couple weeks. Actually, it's going to go out there, and they're going to end at the Cowboy Dinner Tree, and probably do some camping out there at the hot springs or something. So.
What is called 4x4 Bend?
4x4 Bend. Yep. That's they've been
like a closed group, or is it anybody can kind of join?
Well, I think it's kind of Toyota focused, but I believe that they'll let anybody kind of come on runs and stuff.
I have a Toyota, so we're all good. But
yeah, they're kind of a spin-off of the Central Oregon Land Cruisers. If you guys have aware of those guys,
yeah, I'm really familiar with some of them. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of a spinoff from that group, but they've got a lot of momentum going now, and they do some really cool things. And it's if you have time, look them up and check it out. I think they have like a Facebook page or something like that.
Yeah, they got a Facebook group and a website.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump into some news here. One more ad spot.
Have tire troubles ever left you deflated? Colby Valve has got you covered. Ever have a valve stem leak? Colby Valve makes reusable and easily replaceable valve stems that don't require you to remove your tire from the wheel. They work with your off-road rig, ATV, side-by-side, commuter vehicle, or even your tractor. Never be left stranded again because of a busted valve stem. They also have a tire repair kit for those punctures that keep you away from doing your favorite thing, wheeling. Make sure to check out colbyvalve.com or ask for them at your local off-road products store.
I love those things. Have you guys ever had them in the trail?
I used one once.
I mean, you hope it's like insurance. Like you hope you never have to use it, but you always carry it,
Yeah.
But man, anytime that there's a product that can prevent me from having to take my tire off the rim, I'm full game for it. Like those new glue treads that are out that you can, do a sidewall pass and stuff.
Yeah.
It's just like it might not work every time, but I'll tell you what, I'd rather futz with that for 10, 15, 30 minutes than spend a half a day trying to take my tire off the rim and then stitch a tire from the inside out, and that nightmare.
Where I'm a real cool fan of like Colby Valve and the glue treads is when you can like roll up on somebody else in a terrible situation, be like, hey man, I got just the thing. Yeah. And then if it doesn't work, you're like, yeah, it sucks. You got to take it off the rim. Bye. If it does work, they're just like, wow, what a hero, and you're like, yeah, no, this is pretty cool stuff. So that's how I like to use it. But
I teach off-road classes, and whenever I do tire repair, I tell my students, I said, you know what? I said, if it gets to the point where you messed up your tire to the point where you have to take it off the rim, I said, you might as well just set up camp wherever you're at and just, have a drink or something and just chill out, because you're going to be frustrated for the next, couple hours trying to get that thing, get that fixed, and just put yourself in a better environment. It's a nightmare. They're not.
Yeah.
Here's how good Colby valves are. The only time I've had to use one, a guy was snow wheeling in a mental state that he should not have been, it looked like. But he debeated in the ditch and we drug him out, and it had debeated his tire and ripped the valve off. So I put a Colby valve in it, and then we used some starting fluid to put his bead back on, and it wasn't wanting to go, so we used a little more. And then we put the air to it and used a lot of starting fluid, and it popped up and rebeaded. And that's when we realized he had slashed like a 6-inch hole in the back of his tire. So that's how big of an explosion it withstood to beat a tire with a 6-inch slash in it. And that Colby valve still is he's probably still running it to this day, honestly.
Man, that's intense.
He needed some treads.
He did for sure. Well, he needed Jesus is what he needed. But
he needed that's about the only savior you're going to get on that type of a tear.
Yeah. Our first article comes from Autoblog, and it's the new Toyota Land Cruiser 24 pricing announcement. The 2024 Land Cruiser will start out at $57,345, according to Toyota. This price includes the $55,950 base MSRP, plus a $1,395 destination charge. That's a huge drop and welcome news in an era where corporations constantly ratchet up prices under the guise of inflation.
Oh, good grief. I can't believe that was included in this article.
What I want to know is these guys are deep on Toyota's stick shift right now, because this isn't the same Land Cruiser as the other one, so to compare its price to the Ultra, it's kind of, especially when this first came out, they're like, it's going to be like $40,000 cheaper than a 4Runner, and then when here they're like, hey, 57 base.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a Prado, right? It's not really a Land Cruiser.
Yeah,
like at least that's what I kind of remember looking at it. It's like the new one is represent more of a Prado size and everything than it is the actual.
Yeah, the overseas gets the 300 series, and this is a 250 series is what they're calling it.
Have you guys listened to any videos about why we don't have Hiluxes and have Tacomas in the United States? It's because it all boils down to Germans don't like chicken. But it's a pretty long story with taxation and tariffs and stuff, and it's straight up just a tax war between us.
Whoa! It's a ghost.
He's back.
He's back from the dead.
Hey, Ben.
We told everybody you died, Ben, so
nice.
I didn't expect to see you on the show.
No, I had my son's middle school play going on, and rehearsal was tonight, and I thought I'd be able to get out of there at a decent time, and no. So, nope, I made it.
Well, it's good to see you, Ben.
Yeah, I know. I swear the last time I talked to you, like my tailbone was broken or something.
Possibly. I can't, it's been so long.
I went and re-listened to part of that episode.
All right, jumping back into this article, Land Cruiser prices haven't been this low in almost 20 years. When the 2005 100 series started out at $55,325, but the hardcore off-roader grew in size and luxury content, much to the chagrin of dedicated four-wheeling enthusiasts who prefer the no-fluff approach to their rigs. The last Land Cruiser sold before a 3-year hiatus, the 2021 200 series, started out at $86,888. That's a whopping $29,535 price cut. The SUV will come in 2 grades, with the Land Cruiser 1958 as the base model. Land Cruiser is one of Toyota's oldest nameplates, dating back to 1958 in the US and 54 in Japan. The upgraded trim, just called Land Cruiser, will offer more creature comforts and will be a limited run of first edition models. With a more affordable price tag, the Land Cruiser should return to its rightful place as the go-anywhere off-road truck that breaks trails and not banks. If you want all the bells and whistles, there's always the Lexus LX.
Okay, so do they really believe that they cut $30,000 off of this truck and you're still getting the same truck?
I am in an unapologetic Toyota fanboy, and this hurts my feelings a little bit that you could just straight faced write an article and be like, "Oh, it's such a good deal. It's so much cheaper than the last Land Cruiser." Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's horrible. It'd be like if when the FJ Cruiser came out, they're like, "Hey, it's so much cheaper than the existing Land Cruiser." It's like, it's not really a Land Cruiser. Like, we kind of,
Yeah.
Kind of feel like the article was written by somebody who doesn't understand Toyotas.
I would agree
it
with
feels
that.
like it was written by somebody in Toyota's marketing team. Like, hey guys, it's a real Land Cruiser and it's much cheaper.
Yeah. Well, I am excited for it to come out. I'm hoping that because it's cheaper, that maybe it'll sell more and more people will buy it, because that's the reason why the 300 series didn't come here and why the 200 series didn't last very long. It was just too expensive and people weren't going to dish that money out. So
I
we'll see.
wanted one, but who wants to dish out $90K for a Land Cruiser, right?
I don't mind dishing out $90K for a Land Cruiser. It's just that I don't have 8 million
True.
sitting in my bank account.
Yeah.
True enough.
So yeah.
Yeah, there's a
I have seen, have you guys heard anybody talking about these on the pricing online that it's been introduced? Have you heard anybody talking about it?
no, it's news to me.
I've seen a few chats about it, and I mean, it seems like it's not. The people seem like, well, compared to a Forerunner, like a TRD Pro Forerunner, it's not crazy over the price, over the top.
Yeah.
So
Don't
it's like,
Don't you remember when they were kind of saying it was going to be cheaper than a Forerunner?
well, and that's what I thought, and that's what I was hoping. I was hoping like the highest model would be the price of a Forerunner, not 55, which is what
Yeah.
I want to say. TRD Pro Forerunner is like 52 the last time I saw.
Everyone who I've heard talk about this says the price is too high.
Well,
I'm not
especially for
gonna
only
buy one,
5 passengers,
so we'll see. Yeah.
because Land Cruisers were 7 passengers and now they're 5.
Oh,
Yeah. I mean, it definitely got
that's
smaller.
I-
So
I wish it was even smaller, to be totally honest. Like, I wish it was like Jeep JK size, but that's, yeah. I also am really curious, like, what the initial markup, like, when any new car comes out, like, there's going to be the first one we see is going to be $107,000. Like, I just want to see what dealers think that the markup
Yeah.
is going to be. Like, I want to see
like
how
all the
crazy
Ford
they
dealers did.
Yeah, I want to see it like, what was it, the Nissan, that new Nissan Z car? It was like a $55,000 sports car, but they're selling it for like 120,000. It's like, dude, you buy a Lamborghini for that. Like,
Yeah.
400Z.
yeah.
Yep. Yeah. The 400.
I also want to see when they come out with obviously a Pro or Trail Hunter edition, like what that's got to jump just 20 grand, right?
I would expect it to. I really would. All right. Our next news story is that Subaru is redeveloping its off-road lineup. And I got to apologize. It's a really slow news week once again. So Subaru has filed 12 new trademarks in the United States Patent and Trademark Office for adventure sounding model names, suggesting several new off-road focused vehicles or trims are coming. So this whole article is all speculation. First spotted by AutoGuide, the names include Accomplice, Everguide, Everpass, Getaway, High Road, High Trail, Outsider, Tailwind, Trailhead, Trail Seeker, Uncharted, and Viewfinder. Some of them, like Accomplice, are strange, but the rest could be used for more adventurous trims or an entirely new SUV. Wilderness vehicles received more ground clearance all-terrain tires and CVTs with revised ratios for off-roading. While they are capable, there's always room for improvement. It could also be aimed at those who want the rugged looks but none of the off-road capability, like what Mini Cooper did with their electric hardtop, and they gave it the JCW trim, which offered the sporty styling but none of the performance upgrades. They go on to say that perhaps Subaru will introduce an off-road version of the Solterra electric crossover as a battery electric car. Subaru might not want to use a wilderness name for that, so they may adopt something like the Trailhead, High Road, or High Trail for their electric equivalent of the Wilderness. So these names are so lame. Coy and I were talking before the show. They feel like when China does a knockoff of something, like these are like the knockoff names. They're just ridiculous. Or in Grand Theft Auto, when they can't they don't have licensed vehicles, so they make the car that looks like the Lamborghini, but they call it something else.
Mhm.
It's like when you go to the Red Box movie rental and Transformers 4 is going to come out in 6 weeks. So they have some movie in there. It's called like Transmuters and it has a robot on the front. And you're like, wait a sec. That's weird timing that you would have one that looks really similar.
I don't know.
That's a
And
good point.
the Outsider, I would probably spring for. I thought that was my favorite of all the names. The Outsider.
The Outsider, yeah.
Mhm.
Mark says that he's looking forward to the Accomplice STI. I was joking with Coy about that. Like, yeah, you got your accomplice with you when you're breaking all the laws and getting speeding tickets.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I felt like Tailwind, since they just trademarked these. Can you imagine if you had an electric one and Tailwind was like your power mode? You hit the Tailwind button. It's like, oh wow, got all electric now.
It's the
Got
boost,
a tailwind.
extra boost. It's got the tailwind.
But you're in Bend, Brent. So I mean, you should expect to see all of these anytime.
All of those.
Yeah. There's definitely no shortage of Subarus in this town, that's for sure. But I don't know. I just aren't all their names already is this supposed to, the article saying it's a brand new vehicle, or they just trademark new names that if they came out with something
It's
I imagine it's for like trim levels and stuff like that.
They just found that they trademarked all these names. There's really nothing saying that they're going to be off-road or anything. It's just trademarked names.
I mean, they already have their Wilderness version, which is kind of like, they have the Forester Wilderness. It's just a trim package.
Yeah.
But what if we upped that Wilderness trim package with the Wilderness Uncharted
Getaway.
trim package?
Yeah.
So much better.
I think
With
I'm
the
getting
Wilderness
vehicles,
Everpass.
these trim packages than anything.
Look, just think about it. It's just like the Wilderness Edition, but instead of those copper accents, bronze. Okay? Bronze.
Instead of copper.
Much better.
It's a little bit darker brown.
Yeah, it's a lighter, more of a gold bronze, you know what I mean? But
Emerald-
still kind of like that
emerald
classic
metallic.
Subaru WRC World Rally stuff. We do some of those accents. Wilderness Uncharted, boom. We charge $7,000 more for that package.
Yeah. Just such a way to these companies can make more money by doing absolutely nothing new to a vehicle. It's we decided to put that line on it a different color, but we're going to call it this new name that people are going to want, and we're going to charge more for it.
We're going to do a Wilderness Trailhead package. We're going to do a graphic on this side with like kind of a trail on it, some mountains, and some topographical map. But then we'll put a big trailhead marker on there in red. Some red tow hooks as well, just like the Rubicons. It's going to be awesome.
So awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coy, do you work for marketing for Subaru? Because you sound like it.
I should.
You're hired.
I might be better than the marketing team.
I like the Getaway also. I feel like the Getaway would be a good STI. Be like the Subaru WRX STI Getaway, and all the bank robbers own those.
It'd be like the new Altima.
There's nothing that could have bigger energy than an Altima, though.
Well, yeah, but Subaru Getaway, could see that jumping a curb.
Subaru Getaway. Yeah. Oh my goodness. All right. Well, that's it for the news. Let's hit the main topic. All right, Brent. We found out through a mutual friend of ours that you guys opened up shop and are doing some new stuff over there in the Bend area.
Yeah.
And I came across your brand at the Northwest Overland Rally last year.
Mhm.
In fact, I think I saw Mario stepping out of one of your campers.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's not your brand, Mario. I mean, it's got two of the letters of your brand. It's got an extra letter in there. What's going on? And he kind of briefly said that there was a shop that he was affiliated with in Oregon, and that's where I last left, where it left off. And then our mutual friend Andy told us about you, and he's like, and and we're like, I know exactly who Brent is. So we was like, we got to get you on the show. Let's find out what's going on in your shop. But before we do that, because it's been 6 years, we've updated how we do our main topic, and we like to find out a little bit about who we have on before we talk about the stuff that they sell. So we're going to do the fast 5 facts.
Okay.
So you just have to answer quickly with an option that we give you. So new or old vehicle,
Old.
summer or winter camping,
Summer.
rock, sand, snow, or mud,
Sand.
favorite vehicle brand,
Ram.
favorite tire,
Falcon.
all right, and any recommendations for someone new to off-roading.
Take a class.
That's great. Those are all really good.
I was questioning the whole I'm not a person that is like loyal to any one brand. And to be honest, it's like, I own a Ford, I've owned a Jeep, I own a Ram, I've owned a Toyota. I've owned all the different brands, and I like something about all of them, and I don't like things about all of them. So it's like, that's a hard one to answer.
Yeah.
I'm just happy to hear not another BFG fanboy. Not because I dislike BFG, mind you. It's just like that's probably our biggest tire we ever hear and say is BFG by far.
And I've ran the BFGs before, and they're great. They're great tires. I think for the price and what you get out of the Falcons, I've never had a bad Falcon tire. I've not seen like lugs tear off. They get good tread life. I've put them on everything from Subarus all the way up to 1-ton pickup trucks, and they seem to perform well. They're just, in my mind, and they're about $40 cheaper per tire than the BFGs. And they're lighter. They're not, now their sidewalls aren't as heavy duty, but that also makes them lighter, which helps out too with miles per gallon and stuff.
I am that BFG fanboy, but I currently have the Falcon, the super popular one.
ATW, Wild Peaks.
Yeah, the Wild Peak AT3Ws on our F-150, and they do great.
Yeah.
I drove it in that ice and snowstorm that we had, and they did fabulous.
I feel like BFG is the Starbucks of tires. It's like, okay, we get
but they're a great tire, though. They're a great tire.
Clearly popular.
No. I would say they're the Toyota of tires.
And I think they come out with new versions of tires.
Reliable.
No, because like, I mean, they come out with new versions of their tire more often than Toyota comes out with a new generation of 4Runner by far.
That's true.
We're what 23 years in this current generation now. So
almost.
And I mean, they definitely don't run those tires that long. So I wouldn't even compare them to Toyota. All right. Let's learn a little bit more about you, Brent. How did you get started in off-roading?
Dual sport motorcycles. I've always been a traveler, like somebody that just loved to get out and explore. And I kind of grew up on bikes, and my family, we would go on trips and stuff. I grew up out east, so we went around New York State, Pennsylvania, West Virginia is a beautiful state to explore, but started on bikes. And then, I kind of always had 4-wheel drive vehicles, but it was my love for camping off of a dual sport that really kind of got me into the off-road, travel world.
So what was the first 4-wheel vehicle that you took off-road? Since we know you did the motorcycles, dual sports.
Well, the first 4-wheel vehicle I ever had was I had an old S15 4-wheel drive in college that was just a beater, and we'd take it down to an area in Ohio called Wellsville. I think I talked a lot about this in the last podcast that I was on with you guys, so I'll skip that. I would say first one that was like a big rig that I built out, with the camper and everything else to really go out and travel was probably after I moved to Oregon 11 years ago. And that was a Ram 2500 with the 5.9 Cummins in it, crew cab, 8-foot bed. The thing was a beast. And I had a 4-wheel camper Granby on the back of that thing. In total, it weighed about probably close to 9,000 pounds. I mean, it was a monster. But that was, it was myself and my dog, and until I met my girlfriend, now wife. And I mean, we were out every weekend in that thing. So
Nice.
yeah, lots of trips in it.
What's your current favorite rig to hit the trail in?
You know what? I currently, my daily is kind of my Ram Rebel. I have a 2018 Ram Rebel, and I've done everything you possibly can do, I think, to that truck. Unfortunately, I'll probably be putting it up for sale this spring. I just got another vehicle that I'm going to be building out here. But I'm going to be really sad to get rid of that Ram. Like, that Ram has, I mean, I've been all over in that thing. And like I said, there is nothing untouched on that vehicle. I mean, it's got everything from Scheelman seats to, the AT Habitat on the back. I mean, you guys probably saw it I had it at the rally. That truck is just dialed. I took the air suspension on. It's got full custom suspension that we shipped over from Bilstein, that a company called Air Delete up in Saskatchewan, Canada, custom made for us, all custom springs. It can go wheeling as well as just be super comfy on the highway, and it's great to camp in and spend multiple days. I mean, yeah, it's an awesome rig.
But you already got something new lined up?
Yeah.
It's a Colorado, isn't it?
No. You're going to laugh. I told you I liked old vehicles. It's a 2007 Ford F-250. That's the super cab with the 6.5 foot or the 675 bed. So the wheelbase is actually shorter than my Rebel, but I'm having a Bowen Customs flatbed made for the back that's going to extend it out to 8 feet. And then AT Overland's new Atera topper that they just came out with this past year, I'm putting that on the back of it. And the whole reason for this is, again, I love motorcycles. So with that ATP topper, it's got like a giant back door that opens up, and it truly is like a toy hauler for trucks. So with an 8-foot bed on that, I can load both my wife and my motorcycle into the back of the truck. And now I can take our motorcycles without pulling a trailer wherever we go. And it's got a king bed in it. The thing's huge.
So is it this one I've got up here on screen?
Yep. So that's Mario inside, kind of showing you how the back door opens up.
Nice.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, you can drive a 4-wheeler into it. I mean, it's when he launched that thing, I was like, I got to be getting myself one.
So we're doing 2007, you said, Ford?
Yeah.
So you're going to be running that 6.0, huh?
It was fully bulletproofed at like 30,000 miles. And I'll tell you what, I've owned, it's only my second 6.0. But I went through the ringer with the first one a little bit, like getting it bulletproof, because that was I had a big flatbed that when COVID
less than the first time, huh?
Well, actually, no, the truck was super reliable after I fixed all the stuff in it. Once I did the bulletproofing and got the
sound like a Jeep owner, man. This thing was super good off road once I put new suspension and trailing arms and changed all the factory stuff.
Once you put $14,000 to $20,000 in it, it runs like a champ.
Yeah. Yep.
You just got to pull the cab real quick and completely redo the motor and then put it back on and take it off a couple more times.
Exactly. All Ford guys know it. It's totally fun. Yeah.
Yep.
No, the main thing was I wanted that cab setup, that super cab with the short bed. I know they still do it today, but that one has a bit of a different wheelbase. And to be honest, I hate DEF. And I typically don't really care for any of the new diesels, but for me, pouring cat pee into a system that helps take away, emissions from the engine, like it's a real pain. So
I have so many issues with DEF. Like,
I don't need
understand
to
how it works.
and
I
all
don't
that.
understand how it works to begin with, because it takes it away, and then you superheat it and burn it out anyways. So you're burning it either way.
Yeah.
And then the fact that the highways are littered with the plastic boxes and stuff from all these things, they ship it from like Canada. Like, how could it be better for the environment? But
I don't know. Yeah. Then definitely don't spill it on you. And the boxes that they come in, like those tubes that they make, they're the dumbest design I've ever seen. Like you can't, and then most manufacturers tuck the pour nozzle so far in somewhere that it's impossible to get to. So before you're done, you spilled half that jug of DEF all over your body. You're covered in like white sticky material. So guess what they think of you at the truck stop? And yeah, it's just like, it's just such a nightmare. I don't like it at all. So
I do actually like to say, so we use it at work all the time. I've saved a bunch of the pour nozzles because it'll go on antifreeze jugs and wide mouth oil jugs and stuff. It's super, super handy at my house. Because I like to spill antifreeze and oil all over myself as well. What is your most embarrassing moment on the trail?
Oh man, embarrassing moment. So I teach off-road classes. I've been doing it for a couple years now, and I always tell my students, like, I teach the stop 'em mentality. Like, if you do get stuck, like, stop, think, kind of go through this mentality of like, understand your rationale and where you're at. My most embarrassing moment was probably 2 years ago. New Year's Eve, I went camping that night. We went up and snow camped on the side of Black Butte, if you guys are familiar with Black Butte. And got up at like 3:30 in the morning. We hiked up to the top of Black Butte for sunrise. I ended up taking my snowboard up there, and I snowboarded off the backside back down to my truck. And anyways, I go in, met my wife for breakfast at like some cafe, and I'm just exhausted. I didn't sleep well. I got up super early. I'm really tired. Come out, and I had my Ram there, and there's this guy, and he's like, "Hey man, I really like your truck." He's like, I happened to get my 70 series stuck last night when we were mud bogging. I'm sure you can come and pull me out. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, man, I'm exhausted. All I want to do is go home, but this guy needs help, and I got the tools, I got a winch. Let's go see what's going on. So we went out there. Long story short, he was like sunk to the frame. I mean, not just sunk to the frame in the middle of the mud bog and it wasn't just he was probably 70 feet into this mud pond, and then left it overnight. So all the mud and the water froze around it, and just like, he was just solid in there. Well, I wasn't thinking, and I just straight line pulled him, hooked the winch to him, straight line pulled him, and literally ripped the bumper off the front of my truck. Because
no.
I saw it, like, I knew it was a bad call. I just was wanting to get out of there, and I should have just said, "Hey man, I don't know if this is something that even my rig can pull you out of." But yeah, because I had an ADD bumper on the front of it, and then I called ADD afterwards the next week because I wanted to see if I could get parts or just rebuild or something. And they ended up telling me that bumper was never rated for a 12,500 pound winch, which is what I need for my truck. So they said, yeah, that's why we discontinued it. It's a light duty bumper that was only rated to a 6,000 pound winch. So
what?
Yeah.
Who sells 6,000 pound winches?
So, yeah. Long story short, I should have known that. I should have asked that question before I put in whatever. I shouldn't have tried to get this guy out with a single line pull. And I paid the price because I ended up having to take the bumper to my buddy that runs Bell Fabrications down here, who made an entirely new custom center of my bumper with a actually 1,200, 500 pound rated winch carrier. Had to get it powder coated. And when it was all said and done, I was about $2,300 out. So it was a big no, and yeah, like hard mistake to make. So that was pretty embarrassing.
Saying that your bumper is only rated for a 6,000 pound winch feels like something you say after you've had a couple bumpers get ripped off. You know, like I don't feel like they came up with that rating when the bumper first got made. It was like right after they discontinued it or right before.
I think that it's discontinued because they should never have had it. I mean, it was just never rated to have a winch in it. So, you know, because it was their stealth bumper. So it was kind of, you know, light duty pre-runner style. Yeah, I was a bit pissed off, but at the same time, I also had to blame myself. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd still be blaming them.
That was for your Ram.
Yeah.
Yeah, like why would you put a bumper on a Ram that's not rated for the truck, a winch on the truck rated for the truck? Like, oh, I'm gonna put a ATV winch on my 4Runner, you know, just in case I need a winch for, you know, pulling myself across the yard or pulling a bush out. No, I want a winch rated to pull my vehicle out of being stuck.
Yeah, that's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah. So, word to the wise, always double check your manufacturer's ratings for just because you has a winch, make sure it's rated for what you want to put in there. So,
Travis Hudson says, isn't ADD the same bumper Dirt Lifestyle pulled off his Gladiator on the Oregon BDR last spring? I've watched that video a couple times. I don't remember what brand it is, but
I'll have to reach out to Nate and ask him.
Now I'm curious. He says on the video what brand it is. I'll have to just speed through that section.
So we've heard about embarrassing. What's your biggest win on the trail?
Biggest win?
Yeah.
Man, right siding a tipped over Sprinter van on the White Rim Trail in Utah.
Whoa.
So guy went off of, there's like a little ledge on one of the beginning sections. He high sided it. When the one wheel dropped, just because it was top heavy, it just fell on its side. And using some pretty creative winching techniques and a lot of pulley blocks, we were able, from the vehicle in front of him to the, you know, to the vehicles behind him, get it rigged up enough that it pulled him upright. Now, the downside was that he fell over and all his fuel left the vehicle. So then he had no fuel. So we had people on the outside of him had to run back in town to get diesel that he could refill back up. But, you know, if you guys have done that trail before, there's not many pull spots on that trail. So given that we were able to figure out how we had to ride him, that was pretty successful.
What? So were you pulling on his frame to help right side him, or?
We had a couple to the frame, but we actually had to go over the vehicle and actually grab his roof rack, and we had to pull him up from the roof rack.
Sprinter van, was the roof rack like going down into the frame? Was it one of those that kind of wrap around, or was it just a strap to the roof?
They're a unibody, so I mean it's.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's let's just say there really wasn't any other options, and we totally communicated like, hey, this is about the only way we're going to get you upright right now, and it ended up working. So you know, we knew we were leveraging the bottom section as well, like, you know, kind of pinning that down and pulling down on that as much as we could. So we thought that that would alleviate a lot of the stress that was going to be, you know, hinging on the roof. And luckily, yeah, we got him upright and we didn't damage anything. It was fully intact. We didn't even bend any of the roof parts.
That's cool.
I would have tried to convince him to do it a much cooler way. Like, we got to open your slider door, go through. We're going to stab a small hole through your sidewall, but we're going to hook it to a high lift jack on the other side. And then we'll pull, you know, it would have been, you know, insane amount of carnage, but looked really cool. It made an awesome video.
We'll just
That's
throw a
pretty
bolt
amazing.
through it later and call it a high lift mount on the side.
Yeah, I'm gonna hook it. I'm gonna put my spare on the outside, poke a hole through. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite place that you like to wheel?
Let's see here. I honestly, I really like. So I don't get too heavy into wheeling. I'm more of like the traveling type. But if I do go out, just anything out China Hat's a lot of fun. If I do want to go out and just kind of play around a little bit, China Hat, Horse Ridge. I've been going to Golden Basin a bunch. There's like a private area that I got approval from the rancher that's these like mini sand dunes. That's just kind of fun to tool around in out there. Just some nothing too intense, but it's just fun to kind of get out and then be back home for dinner or something, like nothing too far from home. But yeah, China Hat, Coyote Butte, it's got some really good areas. We're trying to get that turned into an OHV park. But and I live real close to Klein, so sometimes I'll head over to Klein just to kind of tramps around and like head up the butte and stuff. So it's kind of the main areas for that type of stuff.
Any places that you want to go wheeling that you haven't got to yet?
Man, probably, let's see. I have yet to do I don't know if this is really considered wheeling, but I have always wanted to do the San Rafael Swell. I have not done that yet. That road that goes from Green River down, kind of like down towards Moab. And that's always been like a trail that I've been wanting to do. And I heard that they might be.
I think that's closed now.
I think they're considering. Is it closed now? I know that they're considering closing some sections, but I don't know if it's fully closed right now.
I mean, if it's in part of that 800 miles of trail closures, that's technically they're fighting it, but it's active. Yeah. Like they're closed.
No, I'm pretty sure it's outside of that. San Rafael, but it's soon to be, I think, consumed by that whole movement that's going on down there. So, would love to do it before they would close it. Hopefully they keep it open. That's, one of the huge issues with public land stewardship right now is just trying to keep accessibility to these beautiful places for, people of all recreation. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens with that, but hopefully they don't close it.
All right. It's time to talk some Oregon Adventure Trucks. So how did the company come about?
Well, honestly, my background, and that was, I wanted to get into something that was going to be a little bit more feasible for all people, and something that I could connect more with the community and things. So through my kind of like contacts that I had, I became good friends with Mario, the owner of AT Overland, and he was looking for new representation up here in Oregon. And he knew that I was most likely, going to be, switching my cards around a little bit. And he said, hey, would you be interested in becoming a dealer for me up there? And, but you have to start your own business and stuff. And something I was considering anyways. So that's kind of what I did. I don't know if you're familiar with my business partner, Aaron Worth. He's been, he repped in Ninkasi at a lot of the shows. He used to, so he used to be a big, he actually, he used to be, he used to do all the events for Ninkasi, and he actually built out, he's got a Ram 3500 AEV truck that has a custom bed on it, full blown like camper setup. And he lived out of that and went to all the events on behalf of Ninkasi for 2 years with his wife and 2 dogs. So he knows the industry, like has a ton of experience, and ended up kind of settling in Bend when he was done with that gig. And I just thought, hey, I couldn't think of somebody any better to see if they want to partner up on this thing. So he and I started Oregon Adventure Trucks back. It's about 5 years ago now. So yeah, we got into it. I've always had this theme where I always thought to get more people into this, to this world. And again, we tend to focus more on the travel side, the camping side, but to get more people into it, to just understand like how you can get out in these crazy places, decompress, get away from your work week, it was kind of a trifecta of the gear, having the right gear, having, the proper training to use the gear, because gear is useless without, knowing how to use it. And then also, just doing trips as well. So we started out with the gear, with the AT stuff. Now we have a full-blown retail shop. We carry recovery gear of all types. We do solar systems, dual battery systems, like tons of 12-volt things, lights, full vehicle upfits, armor, suspension. Then I started training a couple years ago. So now we offer training classes. And then this year will be our first year that we're going to be taking customers on trips out into the high desert of Oregon and hopefully some other places as well. So it's been a journey, but we've grown to the point where this is kind of where we want to be. And hopefully we can, find success on doing the trip side of things too. So
that's exciting. I didn't know about the trips part. I'm going to have to come over there and buy like a sticker from you so I can be considered a customer and join up with you.
You'd be welcome to join anytime.
Do you remember I bought a jackal back in 2000? Yeah.
Remember me? You're in my CRM. Come on.
Look, I have a hat.
All right. So what's the process like if I just bought, let's say, 2006 Ford, and I want to get some sort of flatbed conversion done on it and with a cool AT habitat on it? What's that look like if I bring you a bare rig and want to have a custom one-off? Maybe I shouldn't say custom one-off, but like a built rig done by you guys.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be a lot of chatting, obviously, making sure that we're dialing things into. A lot of people come to us with, hey, this is what I saw on Instagram and this is what I want. But after talking to them and really trying to understand how they're going to use it, we can typically dial things in a little bit differently. That's going to be better suited for the needs that they have. So we just try to understand, how many people are going out, how many days, where do you want to travel, how do you plan on using it, what other recreation, are you going to be, trying to do with this thing. And that typically will give us enough information to kind of guide them, in certain paths. A lot of that comes down to more power systems. How much power am I going to need? Like people come to us and we're like, I need 400 amp hours of lithium and a 3,000 watt inverter. And, I need, 800 watts of solar on the roof. And it's like, well, what are you trying to run? Oh, I just need to charge my phone. It's like,
then I don't need Kings and this to go to the mall.
Yeah. So, it's a lot of people just don't understand how everything works together and what all is available. So luckily through my experience in the industry, Aaron's experience, we can really help people walk through things. Tell them what's, what's going to work best for them and hopefully save them some money too.
That's important. I'm sure some people say I still want it anyways, but it's good to get people dialed into what they actually need rather than what the internet tells them that they want.
Yeah. And if somebody's really a stickler about something, I mean, we'll do it. I mean, I'm not going to say that, we wouldn't do something for somebody that, if that's really what they want. A lot of people, I would say 90% of the time that people come to us though, they communicate what they've seen and not what they need, or not what they're, how they're going to use it. And a lot of times what I tell people is if they're all over the place, like if somebody's like, I want this and this, and I want to use this, and, I need to have something here for that. I say, you know what? Let's build a good base foundation. Get a good vehicle, get the good camper, or whatever else that you want to put on it, and then go out and use it with the camping gear you already have. Because most people already have some sort of gear that they go out and they've camped with. It's like, use that gear, go out and just get a feel for this new environment now that you're in, and then start taking some notes about what's going to make it more comfortable. What are things that you're missing? And then we can have a chat after that. And we see a lot of success, and honestly, we see a lot of return customers because of that, because we're not trying to just get them to write a fat check right at the front. We're saying, hey, let's start here, go out and use it, and then we can help you, figure things out in the end. And they always come back and, end up getting something that typically wasn't, was about half as much as they thought that they needed.
All right. So moving on to, these kind of things, what models of campers and toppers do you sell?
So all of AT Overland stuff. We are their exclusive dealer for, that's the Habitat, the ATP topper right there. That's the Summit. That is another Habitat. There's a bunch of pictures. Another Summit. Let's see if you have an Atlas. There's an Atlas. There's an Atlas on our Gladiator, so it pops straight up in the air. So they have a bunch of different versions. That camping box that you showed just a minute ago, that's the Nest box. That is a new product that we started carrying that actually comes over from Europe. That is a camp conversion box that fits in the back of your hatchback. So, we even have boxes that fit in Subarus, which is kind of cool that we actually started working on, outfitting Subarus for stuff like this. And then I guess I'll announce it on your podcast, because we haven't said anything really to anybody about it, but we're going to be the exclusive shop for bow and flatbeds in the Pacific Northwest. So, yeah. So we're gonna we're actually Bowen flies in tomorrow. I gotta go get them, they fly in on Wednesday, and they're gonna be spending the week with us out here. So yeah, it'll be really cool to bring on that product line. And then we carry a plethora of other things, but those are probably our heavy hitters.
That's awesome. I love flatbeds. I also like having a canopy to put all my stuff in, but I love flatbeds too.
Yeah.
So besides flatbeds and Habitat modules and Nest boxes, what other kind of stuff are you selling at your store?
So we do a lot of power systems, solar systems. We do dual battery systems a bunch. We carry National Luna is like kind of our go-to brand. So they make a really good portable power box for AGM batteries as well as lithium batteries, all connected to your truck, to your truck battery. So that way you charge it when you drive, and then you can just plug in solar panels as you need them if you're camping. And then we're an Ironman dealer, so I do a lot of Ironman suspensions. We do bumpers, winches, skid protection gear underneath. Honestly, it's kind of everything. Like, we're kind of like become a bit of a one-stop shop, where a lot of people just recognize us probably because the name is just an AT dealer. We do it all. We carry, tons of off-road light packages. And then even all your sleeping. You come in our store, we sell camping chairs. Like, we're like the Overland REI. Like, we just have, cooking gear. We sell cookbooks. I sell travel coffee, all the recovery gear, which that's really great for, we sell the training classes, so you can learn how to use all the gear before you buy something. And now we're doing the trips, which is good, but awnings. We just got on board with Kamek. Have you guys heard of Kamek and seen their awning?
Kamek makes pistols.
Brand.
Kamek, that's a different Kamek. No, there's a brand called Kamek that came out, and they focused on hammocks forever, and they just this new awning called the Crosswing, and it is a self-standing awning that you can deploy in 3 seconds. And it is really cool. So we just got on board with those. So I think I get my first shipment here in about the next week. So I'm pretty excited about that brand. And they're made in Austin, Texas. So they're made right here in the States. It's not like an awning that's been shipped from China. So
I remember they did a Kickstarter for this awning.
Yeah.
It's like it reminds me of like a projector screen that goes in and out. It's like zips in and out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we talked about that in the news.
Yeah, I got to see it for the first time and like really check it out. It's got a ratcheting system, so you can like just with a couple clicks, you can like make it super taut. It can handle up to, I think it was like over 30-mile-an-hour winds when it's deployed without any legs out. And it just the setup and takedown of it was the simplest I've ever seen. No bag, so you don't have to zip a bag up around it. So I'm pretty excited that I don't think there's any other dealers in this area. So I'm pretty excited to come on with those guys.
And they're made in the States. I mean, that's just another nice thing.
Yeah.
You'll have stateside support. Not trying to talk to someone in China at 2 a.m.
So yeah, we do a handful of stuff, but and then the other thing was myself and two of my friends that are also in the industry started a nonprofit for public land stewardship called Public Land Stewards of Bend. And we've been very humbled as well as very active in cleaning up our public lands. So we've partnered with the Deschutes National Forest. We're working with the Deschutes District BLM, and it's 100% volunteer. We get people from the community that comes out.
Wow.
We have anywhere from 120 to 350 volunteers per cleanup. And last year alone, we took out over 500,000 pounds of trash off our public lands.
Is this picture on our screen, is that all at one site?
Yes, that was one location, and there's many of those.
That is insane.
Yeah. And our cleanups, we do typically they're Saturday cleanups. If you go to plsbend.org is the website. Our cleanup starts, I think, April 12th or something like that. April 12th, April 13th is our first kickoff to the season for cleanups. And
I see some of the comments here. It says, ask about the Presidential Medal of Honor.
Oh, God. Yeah. We just found out, because we've been putting in so many volunteer hours for the Forest Service, that myself and my two other colleagues that started this, we're actually going to get Presidential Medals of Honor for our volunteer work for the National Forest.
From which president?
Yeah, I didn't expect that to come, and it hasn't come yet. So we'll see if it actually happens. But that's what we were told, which is it's pretty cool. I never thought that I was going to do that just for cleaning up trash.
I'm curious to see which president you come with, because government likes to drag their feet. You might get a different president that signs this thing.
Might just get written off. Who knows? But yeah, we just found that out, and we're honorary. They made us honorary forest rangers too. So I have key cards and keys to all the gates, and I can get it.
We know who to go camping.
I have more questions about this. So, are you allowed to use those as you see fit?
I mean, not as we see fit. Like, we have to be responsible, but they gave them to us because some areas that we need to go scout prior to like open season for gates to be open, or just that might be a permanently closed gate. We have access if we need to get in there to clean up something that shouldn't be there, whether it's an abandoned vehicle or a abandoned encampment, or it's just illegal dumping. We see a ton of illegal dumping going on too. So
could you go in there and scout out, but then spend 2 nights at a private space behind locked gates?
They would probably frown on that a little bit. But
So do you team
kind
up with any
of-
other groups for like your cleanups? Because I know like you've got Gambler 500 that's big down there. There's um, Tread Lightly sends
Mhm.
out support and supplies and all that.
Yep. So they're all tied into us too. So we did a combined cleanup with Gambler and Tread Lightly last year. Actually, it was after Expo. We're just really active and known in this Central Oregon area,
Mhm.
where Tread Lightly's more of like a national brand around just public land stewardship and accessibility. And then the Gambler guys, they kind of
They're internet famous.
yeah. Well, and they honestly were kind of more the leaders on, hey, we're doing these crazy events, but at the same time we need to give back somehow. And a great way is picking up all this trash that we drive our vehicles back by. They, in all honesty, they're not as well approved because you can't just take certain things off of public land. Like you have to be very careful working with the land managers on how that land is treated, especially when it comes to like an abandoned vehicle. Because if that vehicle was, in a crime scene or something like that, like it has to go through checks and balances before it just gets taken to scrap. Okay.
You mean we can't just like throw straps and drag it out of the woods?
You can do what you want, but it's just frowned upon because even the state needs to process them. They need to process all the VIN numbers and things like that. We tend to follow the rules a little bit more when it comes to those types of things, but I'll tell you what, it is frustrating. Like all the red tape gets frustrating, and it is sometimes to just put your head down and just act like you didn't hear something. But I mean, we try to be responsible too. I mean, we want to keep we've done a good job in building these relationships through our hard work and through the volunteer groups that we've been able to connect with. And areas that probably should have been shut down in Central Oregon for accessibility for vehicles and things haven't been yet. And I truly believe it's due to the fact that they know we care.
Yeah, there's so many people out there that care, especially in Oregon. I've noticed you guys have had some massive cleanups regularly through all different groups, and it's awesome. And I see it up here in Washington, not as much as I'd like, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. And we also, if there's other groups out there, if there's, whether it's just, like a buddy group or a company, if they want to host a cleanup of their own, we put together a really nice document with Onyx Off-Road that's available on their website as well as on our website. That is a step-by-step guide on everything that we've learned along the way on how to put on your own cleanup event. Also, you're welcome to, reach out to us via the website, and we will do everything that we can to try to, get you going and try to, facilitate as much as we can from here. So
that's awesome. That's a great resource because you hear about groups that used to do cleanups and they're not around anymore, and people are trying to pick up the slack, and it's like, what do I do and how do I do it? And it's nice to have resources out there to where you're doing it the right way to get along with the government.
So I'm just going to throw this out there. If you can't answer this question, just wink or whatever. But I've been looking, and this is only for kind of, non-fire burning months, wintertime only. I've been looking at these X Products flamethrowers online. They're surprisingly affordable. If I get one, could I come clean up with one of those? Just burn one of these cans out. I want to feel like I'm in the Hunger Games or something.
I think the term I used before that would be highly frowned upon, I think that would apply to that comment too.
Well, I'm trying to.
I wouldn't want to see it. That sounds rad. I mean, I'll tell you what. So I have 3 acres out here in Bend, like in Tumalo, and every year after I do a bunch of tree trimming on my property, I have an old pond that is I fill it with just juniper wood. And last year we shot a flaming arrow into it and doused it with diesel. You are more than welcome to come out with that flamethrower one year and light the pit on fire if you really want to put that thing to use.
I'm not saying no, but I'm also trying to justify this purchase with my wife, so I need there to be some, if I can be like, hey, I'm cleaning up homeless encampments with this flamethrower, I'm doing a good thing. That's what I really am looking for, is a good justification.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I guess we have one more question here. You're talking about your training. What kind of training do you guys do exactly?
So most popular is going to be introductory to four-wheel drive, introductory to four-wheel driving. That is a 2-day course that a lot of people, like if they, if they just bought a four-wheel drive vehicle, never owned one before, it really is a great class that wraps your head around that vehicle. You understand everything that vehicle is capable of doing, as well as all the, specs, ground clearance, breakover angles, things like that. At the end of the class, plus I do a bit of tire repair in it and some basic recovery training. And we go out and I train in your vehicle, so you get to use your own vehicle. It's not like, some trainers, nothing bad against them, but every vehicle is different. So if you're only training people in the vehicle, like your vehicle, then they're not really going to understand what their vehicle does. So and we actually do a trail run. We go out into some, light trails, do some hill climbing, teaching them how to spot, driving in sand, hill descents. Like we do some of that stuff in the introductory. So that's probably the most popular course that I offer. And then the second course that I do is, I call it the Total Approach to Recovery. And that is a really deep dive class into recovery skills. So we do a full day just on winch rigging, from a ton of different setups to all the gear that you can use for it. If you're stuck, we do a winching setup that most people like, where, you winch yourself backwards. How to winch yourself backwards when you got a winch on the front of your vehicle, like just how you would set something like that up. Redirects. We go through theory, but we do a lot of practical hands-on stuff in that course. And then we do a little bit more of an advanced driving course where you're going to have to recover your vehicle a little bit. So
nice.
Yeah. And last year I did do a snow course just because it's so popular around here. I did like a snow safety course. It was fun, but it was only a 1 day. And to be honest, it was early December and we didn't have a lot of snow. So
you just show up with like a big bag of Taco Bell hot sauce. Like, here you go.
Yeah. Just survive the woods, man. We ended up getting, I took people up by Newberry Crater and we ended up getting about 2 feet or so of snow, but it wasn't really like great snow. So it was just tough because I don't want people to pay for something that I can't control, and that's the weather. And for a snow course, I kind of feel like if I do it, I want to make sure there's a guaranteed spot that I can get into with snow. So, so I might offer that one again, but I'm not sure yet. Right now, I don't have it on the calendar.
Yeah. You just never know with snow.
No. And it can be so different. There's snow that's great to go wheeling in. And then there's snow that just like, I'm not going to even touch that stuff because it's just sugar and you're going to be getting stuck after getting stuck after getting stuck. So, but and as far as like vehicles that come through the course, I've had everything from Subarus to Sprinter vans to Raptors to Jeeps to tons of all the Toyotas, and just new. I've had about 3 Rivians come through now, so I'm starting to see the electric vehicles come through, and that is going to change the game. Like because they don't have the mechanics. There's literally no driver feel. It's just the Rivian has 15 different modes that you can put it in. You have no idea when you put it in one mode to the next what's different. Like there's no feel. It's just quiet and it's like the wheels. But if you look at it from the outside, every wheel is moving independently in order to try to gain traction. So it's so different from anything else that we've really known in the off-road world, that it's just going to be really interesting to see how this electric vehicle movement kind of takes off in our world.
Well, it's going to be a little hard for overlanding if there's no spots to charge in the middle of the woods.
That is true. But I will say, I took on our first customer trip, one of the guys with the Rivian went on it, and he did. I mean, that thing got over 400 miles worth of range. He was able to get all the way out, like way into the Ochicos and then back to Bend, and had no fear of not being able to recharge.
That's nice to hear that he hadn't.
That's fabulous.
That's always the big thing with like electric vehicles, that is that whole range thing.
Yeah, and we weren't on a beeline trip either. I mean, we took back road routes through, kind of, it rained a couple days before, so there were some muddy bogs and some good ruts and some decent climbs, and it did everything. And yeah, he had absolutely no problems. So
Nice.
I was impressed by it. I was pretty impressed by it. It's a nice vehicle, and there's companies now making a ton of like overland gear for these trucks. Like the frunk in the front area, there's a water tank now that sets inside. That is a couple gallon water tank that plugs into the vehicle's area and actually has a powered pump that comes out.
That's sick.
Yeah, they have built-in air compressors that I swear to God, I think they put out more cubic feet per minute than the ARB twin compressor. I mean, there's a lot of really cool things I've seen on those trucks. So,
So they have an air compressor built into them.
Yep.
Where exactly is it built in? Like, is it accessible from outside or under the vehicle?
Yeah, it's in the bed. It's like in the panel of the bed, and then you just kind of plug your air chuck into it, and you can go
a couple 10 millimeters could get it popped out of there. Or
what's that?
could I come up with some 10 mils? I could just pop one out of there. Or?
No, it's I don't know where the actual compressor sits, but yeah, if you want to go hack into a Rivian for some parts for your for your rig, I mean, people in Portland would probably just expect it. So,
well, they don't have catalytic converters, so you got to steal something out of the truck. Like,
yeah. So, but they do rock rails for them now. I think I've seen some bumper kits. Yeah, they're coming out with a decent amount of off-road gear for the Rivians.
Yeah,
it's nice to see that they've got the support right now.
Yeah, and we have a lot of them down here. I mean, so our local suspension shop, Thurn Fabrication, those guys, they have a full off-road suspension kit for the R1T and the R1S. That I don't know if it runs Kings, but they don't make anything that's not really off-road worthy.
Nice.
Yeah. So we'll see. I think we're going to see a lot more developments from that world a little bit.
Nice. Last question here is, where can our listeners find you, Brent?
Well, you can find us in Bend. If you come to Bend and you go to 10 Barrels East Side Pub, we're right next door to it. So you can't miss us. We got an Oregon Adventure Truck sign out on the road. If you're online, we do have an e-store, so you can kind of purchase things online from us. We carry some of our own products too, like some Velcro bags we make. We also make some bug screens for the back of toppers, which honestly nobody has. So we saw it as an opportunity, and we have been selling a ton of them. But our website is OregonAT.com, and you can get right into the shop. You can see all of our events that we're going to be at, as well as you can see our training classes, things like that, and soon to be customer trips. Our Instagram is Oregon_AT. And I think we're starting a TikTok store, but it's not available yet. But I think
you're on the TikTok is what you're saying.
Yeah, I think we're going to be on TikTok. But yeah, I typically website, and then if you want to give us a call, 541-238-8400, we'll get you right to Aaron or I. So
nice.
Next week, guys, I know that our hypothetical off-road trip episodes have been really, really popular. So we are going with a little spin-off of that. We're going to be building hypothetical bug-out vehicles. So tune in, find out what we're all doing for the apocalypse.
Yeah, there's been a lot of apocalypse movies coming out, so we got to cash in on that. So yeah, we're gonna make some doomsday rigs. I think it's gonna be great. I can't wait to find out what lottery we won this time.
Maybe we had an important uncle die.
That could be. That could be. Yeah.
It is an
Well,
apocalypse.
We do want to say thank you to everybody who's listening to us weekly and tuning into the show live. It's a lot of fun having you in the comments. I know we say that every week, but I really do mean it. It's a lot of fun hearing what you guys have to say, hearing your thoughts, helping ask the questions.
We love that you guys have been calling into 605 Spotter and leaving all those voicemails because we've been playing them every week for you guys. Really love that. So keep calling in 605 Spotter to our voicemail line and drop us those messages, comments, and questions.
we love when we hear about presidential medals that people are getting. That's very helpful comments.
We would have never known that without someone in the comments ratting you out, Brent.
Yeah. Well, come to the show. If I get it, I'll show it to you guys.
Yeah. We could try it on. Can we try it on?
I'll let you wear it all day.
I was gonna say, I'm gonna wear it like Flavor Flav, just like big old
Giant clock, but big metal around your neck.
I don't know what a presidential medal of honor looks like, but I'm wearing it.
Chains on it.
It's gonna have
gonna
teeth
bite it,
marks
see if
in it
it's
when we turn
gold.
it back. All right. Well, we really do appreciate you guys in the comments, and we appreciate the people who just listen to our podcast and don't comment, but it's a whole lot more fun when you do comment. So make sure you're sharing us with your friends and helping us grow, and God bless America.
Don't forget to visit Patriot Patch and join the Patch of the Month Club. Check out our Gaia affiliate link for up to 40% off. Also, don't forget to head over to Warren Colby Valve and 4 Patriots to see all of their great products. We are a proud part of the Firearms Radio Network. Got a question or comment? Send it to us through our Linktree account or by searching for Off-Road Podcast. Also, you can listen to us live at overlandradio.com Mondays at 7 p.m. Pacific. When off-road, please remember to have fun, tread lightly, and be safe and courteous. Thanks for listening.
Got that
Good.
comment.
No, it's good.
Favorite line from Django, and I'd have to say it's "I like the way you die, boy."